Another American may have been kidnapped in Beirut. The congressional pay raise, here it comes again, and pitched battles in San Salvador, civilians trapped in the crossfire. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. A grim and unexpected message tonight from the Beirut underground. An unknown group claims it has taken 3 more Western hostages. One of them is said to be an American woman. This story has not been confirmed. Bill Plant is at the State Department with the latest. Bill?
Deborah Farrand, a 54-year-old former resident of the San Francisco Bay Area, has been living in Europe. She was reported missing on Monday when her associates say that she failed to show up for an appointment in Beirut. But State Department officials tonight say that they cannot confirm that Farrand has indeed been kidnapped. A previously unknown group calling itself the Organization of Just Revenge delivered photocopies of 3 passports, Farrand's and those of a Lebanese-born West German and his 7-year-old son, to a Western news agency, along with a statement that said only that the 3 had been kidnapped, quote, for their activities in Lebanon, unquote. The group identified Farrand as a publisher-journalist, and a West German news agency said that she received a Lebanese travel permit in Cyprus on November 1st. If Farrand was indeed kidnapped, she becomes the 9th American currently held in Lebanon by various extremist factions believed to be closely aligned with or supported by Iran. Because of the danger to any U.S. citizen in Lebanon, Washington has warned for several years that Americans go there strictly at their own risk.
The conditions are extremely dangerous. There is no official presence in the country ever since the embassy was withdrawn in September. So there's no way whatsoever the American government could protect or be responsible for its citizens there.
A friend in California says that Farrand recently sent her a postcard.
I'm on my way to Beirut to visit Munir's family.
Just 8 days ago, the U.S. returned $567 million to Iran, part of the billions held here after the revolution, in an apparent effort to test whether Iranian President Rafsanjani was serious about offering to help get the hostages back. But there's always been some doubt about whether Rafsanjani can deliver.
What I think it probably shows is that Rafsanjani does not really control these groups.
U.S. officials have confirmed that there is such a person as Deborah Farrand, but the passport number reported by U.S. news agencies earlier today for Farrand does not check out. So officials here say that they are continuing their search, checking now with embassy records in Cyprus where Farrand was last seen. Dan?
Thank you, Bill. Poland's Lech Wałęsa capped his visit to Washington today with 4 standing ovations from a packed house in the U.S. Capitol. Chief Washington correspondent Bob Schieffer was there.
Lech Wałęsa was clearly touched by the wildly enthusiastic greeting he received at a joint meeting of Congress, and no wonder. It was truly a hero's welcome. The cheering went on so long, one congressman called it the emotional experience of my life. Even through a translator, Wałęsa's message was a stirring one, as he recounted how he had jumped a shipyard fence 9 years ago to attend the workers' rally that was the beginning of the Solidarity movement.
Często wspominam, jak przeskakiwałem przez ten płot.
When I recall the road we have traveled, I often think of that jump over the fence. Now others jump fences and tear down walls. They do it because freedom is a human right. Together with Poland, other nations of Eastern Europe are following this path.
Runął już mur, który był granicą wolności.
The wall that was separating people from freedom has collapsed, and I hope that the nations of the world will never let it be rebuilt.
Interrupted 25 times by cheers and applause, Wałęsa called for a new economic Marshall Plan to get Poland back on its feet.
Nie prosimy o żadne datki, ani filantropię.
We are not asking for charity. We are not expecting philanthropy. But we would like to see our country treated as a partner and a friend.
It was that quest for U.S. assistance that brought Wałęsa here.
In effect, is changing the world. One man.
I think gave all of us a lift.
Congress now expected to have a $700 million plus Polish aid package ready for the president's signature tomorrow. Less than the Poles had wanted, but a lot more than the administration planned to send in the beginning. Bob Schieffer, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Amid the U.S. budget deadlock and the triggering of across-the-board deep cuts in federal spending, new moves on Capitol Hill today for a pay raise. President Bush is now backing a two-stage 33% hike for Congress, federal judges, and other government officials. The package also includes new restrictions on outside income for Congress members. Chief political correspondent Bruce Morton has the latest on the politics of pay.
The House is expected to vote tomorrow to give itself a pay raise, but that's not how the leadership described the bill today.
The proposal is not a pay raise proposal. It's a proposal to deal with a series of ethical questions.
An ethics package.
This is truly an ethics package.
In fact, the bill combines ethics rule changes and money. House salaries would go from $89,500 a year now to $96,600 the first of next year, a cost of living increase that Congress had previously voted not to accept, to about $125,000 in 1991, plus another cost of living increase.
No, they shouldn't get a pay raise. In fact, they ought to take a cut.
An earlier effort to pass a bigger raise died under a barrage of criticism from radio talk shows, for instance. This time, sponsors have linked the pay raise to ethics rule changes. A ban on honoraria, speech fees, a ban on serving on corporate boards for pay, a $200 limit on gifts, an overall limit on outside income to 15% of a congressman's salary.
You know, Common Cause favors a salary increase. It's much better to have Congress accountable.
Self-styled Citizens Lobby Common Cause favors the package, others don't.
The House of Representatives is basically saying to the American people, we'll partially clean up our sleazy act in return for getting a $30,000 a year pay increase. That's an unprincipled mixture.
House leaders said the pay raise would help younger members. Freshman Republican Craig James doesn't want it.
Well, unfortunately, it's going to appear as if ethics are for sale, and ethics aren't for sale.
Senators make more in speakers' fees than House members, and the ban on those fees wouldn't pass there. Senators object to the package for that reason and for others.
I'm for killing all pay raises at this point.
Critics say the House leadership is trying to hurry this package through before voter opposition can build up. The leaders deny that. The vote is tomorrow. Bruce Morton, CBS News, Washington.
The Senate gave final approval tonight to a $305 billion defense bill. Among other things, this bill makes a big cut in President Bush's proposed spending on Star Wars missile defense research. Most other big-ticket items, such as the stealth bomber, are largely intact. President Bush is expected to sign this bill. The Senate today rejected President Bush's final try this year for passage of his top priority idea of cutting the capital gains tax. Mr. Bush and others insist that reducing the capital gains tax will boost the economy and create jobs. Opponents call it a flat-out tax giveaway for the rich. Both sides do agree that the tax policy battle will pick up again next year. Still to come on your CBS Evening News, correspondent Mark Phillips on a drug that's good news for people with Parkinson's. And Frank Courier on the new Champagne train on the main line to the past.
Stay on strike till we get a fair contract.
Now for the latest developments on the story that has Capitol Hill up in arms.
We're not going to try to control what our people read and say and think.
A government without newspapers or newspapers without a government, I prefer the latter.
Mark my words, the end of the world is at hand. The end is near. I'm about had it.
The freedom to say and think what we believe, to express our individuality and diversity. That's our birthright, and it's ensured by this document. Join us and the National Archives in celebrating the 200th anniversary of the Bill of Rights.
Special K. Lose the fat.
The U.S.-backed government of El Salvador stepped up its counterattack today against rebels entrenched in the slums of the capital city. The U.S. State Department said the death toll soared to at least 650. many of those civilians trapped under fire in what the rebels call liberated zones. Juan Vasquez is on the battle scene.
While the army and the guerrillas fight each other to win the hearts and minds of the people of San Salvador, the people fight to stay out of the line of fire. The army has retaken the offensive, but it has yet to retake many of the areas where the guerrillas are holed up amid helpless civilians. The government says it is trying to kill the rebels without killing the innocent. The residents here are grateful to the army for clearing the rebels out, but in the working-class neighborhood of Mexicanos, where right-wing death squads have claimed many victims over the years, the people are helping the guerrillas to dig in for the inevitable counterattack.
Claro, nosotros vamos avanzando.
We have total control of Mexicanos, this rebel leader said, and we are advancing. But the government denies that the FMLN guerrillas have achieved their most important objective.
The FMLN obviously tried to get the support from the people in order to start an insurrectional strategy in order to topple the government. This never happened.
But even in some smaller towns, soldiers remain pinned down by the guerrillas. In Zacatecoluca, the hospital has been destroyed. An abandoned building is a makeshift clinic. In the capital, people are pouring into this church to seek shelter from the battle. These people escaped from a neighborhood that has come under rocket and machine gun fire from government aircraft. The Red Cross has asked for a ceasefire to evacuate the wounded, to allow these refugees and thousands more to return to their homes. But the government is unwilling to accept any arrangement which allows the guerrillas to remain in place. So while the battle rages, the people try to find a way to stay neutral. When combatants fight for hearts and minds, those caught in the middle can lose their lives. Juan Vasquez, CBS News, San Salvador.
The State Department said today the U.S. is, quote, making its concerns known to Moscow over the shipment of advanced MiG-29 jets to Cuba. A spokesman confirmed a report in the Washington Times that the Soviets have delivered at least one of the high-tech fighters to Cuba. He said the Cuban military doesn't need it, and it does not jive with Soviet claims that they want to promote peace in Latin America. In Colombia, thousands of judges and court workers ended a 2-week strike today after the government promised them better protection from Colombia's drug thugs. 2 judges have been assassinated since August. The cocaine criminals have threatened to keep on assassinating judges unless the government stops extraditing drug suspects to the United States.
I think that the future is so fascinating and so interesting for me. I feel blessed. I'm far less pressured as I get older than when I was young. As far as having aches and pains, I'm no different than anyone else. Yes, I do have my share. And it's those times that I use Bufferin. Bufferin, my brand of aspirin, is different than plain aspirin. It has buffers that make it gentler to your stomach.
Bufferin, so you can do the things you want to do.
This is new Hellman's cholesterol free.
Will I like it?
It has 0% cholesterol.
Will I like it?
It tastes 100% Hellman's.
I like it.
I knew you'd like it.
I knew I'd like it.
New Hellman's cholesterol free with half the fat. Bring out the best.
Really love that, huh?
Raisin Bran lover numero uno, pal.
Well, you'll have to eat 4 bowls.
4 bowls.
To equal the vitamin nutrition in 1 bowl of total. More nutrition than any other.
That makes total
numero uno, pal.
We're here with Victor Kayam of Remington. Victor, I understand your Smooth and Silky isn't a shaver at all.
No, Remington Smooth and Silky is not a shaver. It's a hair removal system. Unlike others, it has a soft, rotating roller that removes hair below the skin, leaving your legs hair-free for weeks.
Looks sensational.
And it leaves your legs silky smooth for weeks at a time.
Now we know why he bought the company, right?
Quarter rechargeable Smooth and Silky from Remington.
The United States and Israel said today they made some progress toward getting negotiations underway for elections in Israel's occupied territories. Israeli Prime Minister Shamir met President Bush at the White House after a 2-hour talk with Secretary of State Baker. Shamir has demanded assurances that Israel will not be asked to negotiate with the PLO. In the occupied lands today, Arabs set off fireworks to mark the first anniversary of the PLO's declaration of an independent Palestinian state. Israeli troops slapped a curfew on several towns, including Nablus. the largest city on the West Bank. CBS News correspondent Bob Simon recently lived several days in Nablus, the biblical town that is now the nerve center for the nearly 2-year-old uprising.
It's 11 a.m. and the daily rock and tire ritual has begun. Around the corner, in another world, it's not tear gas but spices which thicken the air. The boisterous commerce of the Casbah carries on until noon every day when the PLO-sponsored strike begins. But today the shops are closing early and quickly. A collaborator, or rather a man accused of collaborating with the Israelis, has been killed. 32 years old, a bus dispatcher, dumped in an alley behind the mosque. The killers pause for a photo opportunity. Their leader pauses for an interview. We try the collaborators, he says. If they're guilty, we execute them with bullets, with a knife, or with an axe, depending on their crimes. The interview ends abruptly when whistles are heard, the People's Code. The army's approaching. It's 2 years into the Intifada, and we're a long way from children and stones. The Casbah of Nablus, the West Bank address of the uprising, has become the most murderous place on the map. The army has killed 115 people here since the Intifada began. Palestinians have murdered 25 of their own. 2 years down the road, the Intifada has splintered into gangs and factions which seem to have been borrowed from Beirut. These are the Black Panthers of Nablus, followers of Arafat, wanted by the Israelis. These are the Red Eagles, a communist PLO faction, also wanted by the Israelis. These are the young soldiers of Hamas, Islamic fundamentalists. They want all of Israel. The Israelis want them too. Together, they've turned the Casbah into a parade ground. Their siren songs, their town criers, their wall posters tell the people what to do and when to do it. They collect taxes and applause out of respect or fear or both. So who controls the Casbah? Who's actually in charge of Nablus?
The PLO, without any question.
I can control the Casbah 24 hours a day.
Colonel Amos, the 33-year-old commander of Nablus, discourages the wearing of masks. 17-year-old Nadir Abu Yassin was wearing a mask when he was shot dead by the colonel's soldiers. They were following new rules of engagement, authorizing the army to open fire on any masked Palestinian. New Intifada, new rules, new tactics, more strongholds, more soldiers on more rooftops, more night patrols, night ambushes, more unannounced pre-dawn visits, more raids to find more leaders. A few days after the Red Eagles demonstrated their defiance in broad daylight, their 23-year-old leader was being buried at midnight. A small family service, that's all the army would permit. He'd been shot 13 times by soldiers. In the Casbah, it's as if the apocalypse has become a way of life. People are terrorized by the army, by the gangs, by the knowledge that the Intifada could be forever. It's already being passed on to the next generation.
We are going to reach our aims. When doesn't bother me. If it's at my time or my son's time. We are not dealing with time.
I hope that my little son, 7-year-old, when he will be in the army, he will serve in the PX in Tel Aviv. This is my dream. But if he will have to be in this roof, in Ras El Ain, in Nablus, he will be here.
Palestinians in Nablus like to remind you that they've endured a long succession of occupations, the Turks, the British, the Jordanians. Israelis point out that their first successful conquest and occupation of Nablus is described in the book of Genesis. Bob Simon, CBS News, Nablus.
There are very few guarantees in medicine. But if you have arthritis pain like I do, you should know about Mediprin and the Mediprin guarantee. If 2 Mediprin don't relieve minor arthritis pain better than 2 regular aspirin, you get your money back. Strong promise, strong medicine. The medicine that concentrates the power of ibuprofen into these potent little caplets. The medicine that guarantees better relief than regular aspirin. Better arthritis pain relief. That's the Mediprin guarantee.
That'll be a charge.
We interrupt this purchase for a reminder.
Don't forget, Santa.
'Tis the season to be choosy.
La 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 la.
That's it.
So choose the card that actually pays you cash back for every charge. The Discover card.
That's a great idea.
You sure know how to pick them. It pays to Discover, the card that pays you back.
Anyone who drives at night knows how important road signage is to safety. That's why 3M is improving signs like this, with brighter signs like this, made with reflective materials invented by 3M to help you see better at night. In fact, the sign on the right is up to 10 times brighter than the sign on the left. And that makes a difference anyone can see. 3M reflective materials, another example of how a 3M innovation is working for you.
After a 2-year continuing study of a new drug, a doctor today said, "I believe that it will alter the way we treat Parkinson's disease not only in the United States, but around the world," end of quotation. The drug has a dramatic effect on the progress of Parkinson's, a degenerative disease of the nervous system that usually strikes people over 40. Mark Phillips has a report.
The hope for hundreds of thousands is being held in William Darling's right hand. Diagnosed with Parkinson's disease 2 years ago, he's been part of a study on a new drug designed to delay the debilitating progress of the disease. The study shows that the drug, Depronel, seems to work.
I had no hopes of being as well as I am today, 2 years ago.
Well, it's possible that this is a breakthrough drug because it may slow down the progression of the disease. That would be extraordinary because there is no drug today that does slow down the progression.
Until now, the future for those with Parkinson's was bleak, increased disability, and the only treatment, a drug called L-Dopa, with the severe side effects of nausea, involuntary movement, and psychiatric problems, a treatment that only worked for a limited time. The new drug, Depronel, not only delayed the symptoms of the disease in more than half the people who took it, it caused no significant side effects.
Results for us are very exciting, as we may now be in the position to further enhance the quality of life for our patients with a very disabling disorder.
It is not yet known whether Depronel can delay Parkinson's indefinitely or whether it merely controls its symptoms. The study will continue for another 2 years, but already the news is good.
We can tell them right now that we have a way to keep them going for a much longer period of time before they reach disability and before they require medications that have side effects.
There are as many as 1 million people in the U.S. with Parkinson's, 1 million people who can now look to the future with some hope.
I certainly think it'll give a lot of people a lot of hope. And I certainly hope that they take from my experience and have that hope, because I believe it's there.
The results of this study were so encouraging that patients in the control group who had not been given Depronel were switched over to it. It would have been unfair, the doctors say, to deprive them of the drug. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Washington.
Former President Reagan was back at the White House today for the first time since leaving office. Mr. and Mrs. Reagan were there for the unveiling of their official portraits to be added to the White House collection of portraits of past presidents and first ladies. Incidentally, this is the second version of President Reagan's portrait. It reportedly was redone after Nancy Reagan complained she didn't like the original.
If you thought you had to give up comfort to get a close shave, Norelco says, think again. Their revolutionary shaving system shaves skin close in a way that's incredibly comfortable. As the hair enters the chamber, the patented lift and cut system lifts each hair and holds it a split second before a blade cuts it, so it's possible to shave skin close without the blades even touching the skin. The lift and cut shaving system from Norelco. We made close comfortable.
The delicious crunch of crackling oat bran has gotten you in trouble again. How do you defend yourself?
Did you eat all the crackling oat bran?
I don't have to answer that.
Did you eat all the crackling oat bran?
Well, you're the one holding the box.
Did you eat all the crackling oat bran?
What crackling oat bran?
With the irresistibly sweet taste of Kellogg's crackling oat bran, an open box is an empty box.
Life without cholesterol. Is there? Give up the best things in life. What's left?
Introducing new Miracle Whip cholesterol-free dressing. Now the best things in life are cholesterol-free.
Thank you!
To rise above worry and uncertainty, 40 million Americans have placed their trust in the travelers its independent insurance agents and brokers to help provide financial peace of mind. You're better off under the umbrella.
A killer tornado has hit Huntsville, Alabama. The Sheriff's Department in and around Huntsville, Alabama reports that there are fatalities from this tornado. The tornado, according to the Sheriff's Office, hit one apartment and did a lot of damage there, hit a shopping mall, did a lot of damage there, also danced along a highway, apparently killed some people there, and some people are still reported trapped in their cars. That's a killer tornado in and around Huntsville, Alabama. No further details available. The romance of the railroad, the promise of gourmet meals and service of crystal and china instead of styrofoam and plastic, mahogany cars and the atmosphere of the Orient Express. We're not talking history here. We're talking about a brand new American rail service. And as Frank Courier reports, nothing about it is cheap.
To travel by train, Agatha Christie wrote, is to see nature, to see life. Beginning tonight, aboard a new luxury train called the American European Express, travelers between Chicago and Washington, D.C. will be seeing life, but paying for nostalgia.
What folks are seeing is a memory of something that never existed, and they want us to meet that memory.
Memories of elegant European travel aboard the London to Istanbul Orient Express. Of mystery and romance on the rails via the movies.
Think how lucky I am to have been seated here.
Well, luck had nothing to do with it.
Investors are betting $15 million on a growing demand for first-class U.S. train travel, on service aimed at people willing to spend $1,000 on a one-way trip for two, more than double the price of a deluxe Amtrak sleeper.
It's avant-garde. Hopefully it will catch on.
This is the longest train trip that I've ever taken.
On that railroad track.
The overnight ride is 17 hours and begins with cocktails. Amid mahogany, marble, and Art Deco accents, the club car is among 5 refurbished Pullman coaches that are hitched to the back of a regular Amtrak train.
You're talking about a first-class hotel on wheels.
On tables set with crystal, silver, and china, guests are served what's called a 7-course gourmet meal.
The ville roulade, stuffed with pheasant.
A glimpse out the window quickly blurs any similarity here with the Orient Express, though the owners are reluctant to concede the point.
It's amazing how similar the Alps look from Pittsburgh looking out a window at night.
At night, the little sleeping compartments are cramped, yet lavish compared to this. For Amtrak veterans, the price of luxury remains a turnoff.
Oh, I don't know about them, but I've just spent 3 weeks on Amtrak for $259.
The luxury rail merchants predict 25% of ridership will be business travelers, but weary Washington-bound flyers delayed at O'Hare just scoff.
Doesn't make very much sense to me. I'm trying to figure out who's investing their money in that dumb idea.
For now, the American European Express is a curiosity. Tonight's sold-out 760-mile maiden voyage, a nostalgia trip. But it's also, for promoters, an expensive gamble. Whether enough Americans will really want to slow down long enough to enjoy the ride and relive a memory. Frank Courier, CBS News, Chicago.
And that's part of our world tonight. Dan Rather for the CBS Evening News. There'll be more about the Huntsville, Alabama tornado in your late local news. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Gonna take a sentimental journey. Gonna put my heart at ease. Gonna take that sentimental journey.
I'm Kathleen Sullivan. Tomorrow, critic Gene Siskel looks ahead to movies in the 90s. Also, Jeremy Irons will be with us on CBS This Morning.
This is CBS.